Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is the Black Manga Critic here, and I'm ready for some manga, man. I'm ready to read some manga. I'm gonna see if I can react to Tower of God in a bit after this reaction. But we're not here for Tower of God. This video is not for Tower of God, Tower of Goat. Okay, that's not what this video is for. Promise Neverland, Promise Neverland greatness. Let's go. All right, I'm really hyped for this. Last chapter was great. It did what it needed to do. Again, one of the strongest things about the Promised Neverland is its pacing. Its pacing is just very good. So I think some people don't like the pacing, but I think I can understand if some people don't like the pacing, right? I get that. I can understand if you have issues with it. I think for me, the reason why I like the pacing is because it moves relatively quickly. It doesn't take too much time for certain things to resolve, to be resolved. To move from place to place. We don't need 10 chapters of them traveling through the wilderness, seeing another, we don't need any of that. We don't, not really. All right. There are certain goals, right? Like these kids are pretty brilliant. So I don't want them to take too much time to figure things out because they're brilliant. Like it shouldn't take them that much time to figure things out. You know what I mean? If it took them 10 years to figure out something in the manga, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm like, really? It took you 10 years? Like, you guys are geniuses. Like, you guys are ridiculous prodigy geniuses. Like, stop it. That's absurd, right? So I just like the pacing a lot. We move from place to place relatively quickly. They solve particular things relatively quickly, right? But they still deal with troubles and issues, and children die, and we see that pretty often, right? Or at least for me, we see it often enough, right? Or if we don't see it for a certain period of time, we know that there's going to be an instance in which things are just going to go bad, right? This is just kind of the type of manga that it is, right? Things are not going to go well for very long until the end, right? After we get to the end and everything is sort of resolved in that sense, then generally things will be pretty good. But before that, it's gonna be a little good thing, and then boom, just an explosion of awful, awful stuff. All right, let's get into the chapter. All right, let's see what we got. Okay. My name is William Minerva. Go to the jaw of the lion. Okay. If we start on the path we did for Kubitadala and then go west here, we should get there in about 10 days. Yeah. You go. Lucas. Everyone. Let's go. Yo. Chapter 114 is entitled One at a Time. Emma, just joy. Just joy and just encapsulation of joy, man. Day 3 of the journey. Kids are tired. Ray is also noting that. I think, no, that's not Ray. That's Don, I believe. They all look tired. We haven't made as much progress as we'd hope, and the guild is also thinking similar thoughts. We haven't made as much progress as we'd hoped. Of course, last time it was 6 of us. Now it's 55 people. Wait. Oh, yeah. With this number, we're not maneuverable. And for the younger ones, even this pace is too fast for them. Finding food or a place to sleep, all of that is different from when it was just the 6 of us. And worst of all is the fatigue from being tense. It's not just the demons. We have to watch for the Rotary clan, as well. Plus, knowing about that camera prevents us from relaxing for even a second. No, I'm not going to relax. I have to protect them. I have to hurry so that we don't lose any more of our family. This is the thing, right? It's kids have died. We saw that. It was bad. That was a bad moment for them. It was a bad moment for them. And I think I'll talk about this at the end of the chapter. I want to see what else happens. But I'm going to talk about that. About the family and the loss of the children and all that stuff. We didn't find much. Wow, they really didn't find much. They got berries and nuts. I mean, that's pretty typical, but still. We didn't find much. The season is different compared to last time. Sorry, we'll go look again. You guys can rest. Emma, let us come with you to help look for food. Yeah, do that. Come on, kids. Come on, kids. All right, you gotta do some stuff, right? Like, this is not, unfortunately, this is not a reality in which kids can just kind of like, can just kind of lounge around and like not, put in work. Unfortunately, it's really sad, but this is the situation. I think this one is edible. I'm not sure about this one. Don, that one's poisonous. We can eat this grass if we remove the poison. We have to be careful not to take everything from one place, right? Or we'll be discovered. Huh? Yo, them kids, man, the kids put it in the work. They put it in the work. Let's go. That's what we gotta see. Don and Emma are like, okay. What are you looking for, Yvette? Oh, footsteps. Yo. Found him. Over here. Huh? We have to chase it. That might be a monkey. What? Are we eating the monkey? No. Animals know where the food is located. Hey, let's go. If it's monkeys, stuff they eat is usually edible for humans. That's what Hugo once told us. Huh. And they're the monkeys. Yay, we were right. And then they dropped one. Thank you for sharing. Yo. Come on, son. Yes, this is good. Yes. The children. Oh, the children. The children have learned. I love it. All right. Wow. If we have this much, we can make soup. And if we get fish, we'll have the nutrients we need. We might be better at collecting food from many people. Oh, we learned how to do a lot in these past 2 years, Hey, look at this child. Look at this black child. This is a black child, and it's not caricaturish or on some minstrel nonsense. All right? Not racist in the least. I love when I see that. I was reading Battle Angel Alita yesterday. I was introduced to Zafal. I think Zafal is her name. Ooh, that's a character right there. That's a not racist, just dope-looking black woman. Just dope-looking character. I love when I see that. All right, I love Crone. Crone was dope, but she was caricaturist. It was absurd. It was absurd. It was too much. I was like, yo, bruh. It was ridiculous. Okay. All right. But the kids, look at the children. Oh man, Hugo taught them how to do so much. Lucas, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Family, teamwork. Let's go. All right. Man, they put in the work. They taught the kids how to hunt too, scavenge, do all that. And this trip is easy for us. We're all students of Hugo and Lucas after all. Hey, that's why we'll work hard. So if you're tired, you can rest. I wasn't thinking. Of course, while we were on a journey for a year, these kids also grew up. You and everyone. That's what you meant, right, Hugo? Yo, they make it a stew with soup. Dope. We'll be okay, no matter how harsh the journey. Thank you for the food. That's dope. I love that. Yes. The family, the children, and the children. Oh, they're so precious. They're so precious. Awesome. All right. This is what time skips are for. All right. So you don't gotta waste too much time showing like the children learning how to do things for like 8 chapters. Like, we don't need that. All right. This is not one of those long running, like super long running like shonen. We're gonna get 500 chapters. You know what I mean? It's not necessary. It's not necessary right here. And listen to this point. We get it. We understand, right? We got some backstory that was good. We got them panels. And we've only kind of understood this, right? The kids have just slowly been growing. They make mistakes, but they're growing. Love it. All right. Ray is just like, Ray is always like just on standby. He always ready. Ray is always ready. Day 8 of the journey. So we passed like another 4 days, I believe. It looks like getting there in 10 days is going to be tough. Yeah. But we're all safe. We're all still alive. Although we still have to worry about Chris's and Dominic's injuries. But we haven't run into demons yet. We've avoided them well. And the Rotary clan too. Even if we can't get there in 10 days, it'll only take 1 or 2 days more. I was really worried, actually. You were too, right? I was worried. We lost our shelter and our supporters. And Hugo and Lucas. Were we really going to be okay? I was also worried about Phil. Ooh, Phil. Oh, Lord. Hashtag save Phil. Hashtag pray for Phil. Oh, he been going through it. He been going through it, man. You already know he been going through it. Phil told me. Oh, Andrew, when he would try to like intimidate the kids. Is he safe? Do we really have 2 more months? Shouldn't we go now to save them? But what can I do now? The more I thought about it, the more I got worried and impatient. But they made me realize something. When you're worried, you should just focus on what's in front of you. Getting worried won't help you do a single thing. We have to do what we can do, what we should do, one at a time. And that will pave the road ahead. Emma. Everyone, stay here. We'll be right back. Don, come. Got it. This feeling. It's a demon. There are demons nearby. Huh. Wow. Whoa. I mean, these demons looking fierce, man. What? Humans? Hey, we found some more people. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Very nice. Very nice. So we got another development. And this is the thing, right? It's like, again, the pacing of the chapter is good. We got what we needed. All right. This is not like, oh, this chapter is so fire and it's like a 15 out of 10. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying this is cool. This is cool. We got what we needed. All right. The story moves forward. They are actually moving forward, right? The days are going by. This is what I'm talking about in terms of the pacing of The Promised Neverland. It moves relatively quickly in the best sort of way for me, right? In my opinion, it moves relatively quickly. So that's the end of the chapter, all right? That's the end of the chapter. That was dope. What's good, Reptar? What's good, Key? All right, like, this is what I'm talking about. Chapter moves relatively quickly. We learn some things, right? The children have developed so that when we see them do some things later on, we're not like, whoa, where do these kids get these skills from? It's like, the time skip was good. It was a good time skip. That gave the kids enough time to learn what they needed to learn, to take the right, and help Emma and Don and Gilda and Ray, right, on their journey, and all the other older kids, right, and Oliver and Violet, you know what I mean? Help these kids on the journey, all right? Jillian and all these folks, okay? So this is a good chapter. Like, it's a good chapter. It does what it needs to do, all right? And we got some more characters like that are introduced. We got some other humans who are out here. They're kind of screwed right now. Like they look like they were about to die. They were about to get eaten by these demons. No joke. Easy. But now that Emma and Ray and the other children are here, it's a wrap for these demons. It's a wrap. The demons are done. They're done. All right. These are like the dumb demons, right? These are like the stupid demons that like don't really think too much, but you know they're dangerous, right? And you shouldn't underestimate them. But like they're not Lewis, right? They're not Lewis or Bayon or you know what I mean, or any of them like that. All right. So I wanted to say something. I think sometimes when we read certain manga, what'll often happen is a manga will, especially in like sort of what you might call like edgier shonen, but even then, not really edgier shonen, just kind of like battle shonen in general, right? You'll have a bunch of people die, and it won't mean a thing, right? A bunch of people will die and we'll be like, oh, let's just add that to the number of people that died during this like event or whatever. And sometimes, at least for me, what I noticed earlier when I started reading sort of manga is I just got like kind of desensitized to the death of certain people within manga, right? When it came to like, and especially if there were like a bunch of them, and it was supposed to mean something, right? Like if there's a war and 2,000 people died in the war, or something like that, or 2,000 people were sacrificed for this thing. I was desensitized. I was like, okay, like I understand this is supposed to be like absurd and like not good and da 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 and like horrible, but I didn't feel anything because there was a distance, right? I didn't know the people who were sacrificed. I wasn't aware of their connections to other people and things like that. That's not to say that those manga don't do that, don't have moments, right? But often those like manga do have those moments where like there's too many people that died and it's like a whole massive number, and I'm just like, And I think like when I started reading The Promised Neverland, and like one thing that I appreciate about it is the numbers. The numbers are never just like numbers. If you see children like and they're dying and like they're just like basically like used as like cattle, you see the children and you see the state that they're in, and it hits you. At least it's supposed to. If you see stuff like that and it doesn't hit you, you must be like, whoa, desensitized. I think like anytime you see children and they're just like in it and they're dealing with the most, like, and it's just like really, really bad, I think you're gonna feel something. If you don't, like, whoa, I don't know. Something's up. Okay. So for me, the one thing that I appreciate about The Promised Neverland is that it sort of like reminds me that like, or not that it reminds me, but it's like it presents these like large sort of groups of people in a sort of pathetic way, right? And when I say pathetic, I don't mean like, oh, that person's pathetic, like, ugh. I mean like in sort of like pathos and sort of like literary sort of element of like a story or something like that. You know what I mean? The ability to like of a particular element or narrative or whatever to affect you in a particular way, right? From like an emotional sort of like standpoint, right? So I adore The Promised Neverland for that, and it always sort of makes me remember, like, if it's like, like I care about people, I care about children, you know what I mean? And I think that's something that people should always be like, that should always be on the forefront of your mind, like that you care about people and that like you don't want to see people die necessarily. So I really appreciated the chapter for this, and the fact that like when the children mentioned that like children that others have died in their group, that means something. It's not just like, oh, the children died and now they're moving on and they forgot about the children, blah blah blah. It's like, no, like like this has an effect. You know what I mean? Like death has an effect. When people close to you die, that should matter. And you feel that from Emma, from Ray, from the children, right? The children are like, like some of us died, like the young children. Some of us died, and we got to step it up. We got to make sure that we're helping out the older kids, right? And Emma, Don, Ray, Gilda, Oliver, Jillian, Violet. You know what I mean? We got to help these folks, all right? So that they can try to protect us, right? And that we don't become this like emotional burden on them, right? And so right, because you don't want to like die and become an emotional burden on somebody. Like that sucks, Like you want to be alive. You want to be alive, and you want to be in those people's lives, and you want to make sure that their lives are even better with you in it. So I love that The Promised Neverland does that. You know what I mean? Emma's just like, she's always learning. You all right? And this is a character that she grows, but she slips up. This is a common thing, right? And some people might take it as like, people make mistakes, but like in this situation, I'm not talking about like, oh, people make like massive mistakes, like murdering like tons of children. I'm like, that's not a mistake. That's like you're like a serial killer, and like you need to go to jail and you need to stay there for like the rest of your life. You need to go try to get some help for that while you in jail, right? Like go do that. I'm talking about, right, when you dealt with certain things, when certain things have happened, right? Just like certain either mistakes, right? Where she says, "Oh, I underestimated these kids," right? I underestimated these kids. Like, that's a mistake that I made. I was working too hard. I treated them like the children at like the children that they were at Gracefield. And they're not the children that were at Gracefield. They're they're older by a bit, and they're way more capable. Like, not only is Emma and Ray and like, you know, Don and Gilda taught them, but like Hugo and Lucas have taught them. And Hugo and Lucas are like, they were on their parent game. They were on their parent game. All right. And they did the thing before they died. So the kids are capable. And I really appreciate that. And again, Emma's always learning, but she trips up sometimes. But she just perseveres. She keeps moving forward. That's the sort of thing that I like. It's very tangible. The fact that, right, this sort of self-reflection. And it's a consistent self-reflection. It's not like, oh, it takes like, you know, some massive thing for her to self-reflect, right? It's just like, yo, the kids like were able to find food on their own and like food on their own. And like they were really capable about using the monkeys to help them find food that was edible for humans. Like, it's not like, oh, everyone died, now I gotta be self-reflective. No. You can be self-reflective even in those little tiny moments, right? In those moments that might seem somewhat more insignificant when compared to, like, you know, Emma, Ray, Violet, and the rest of them against Lewis. You know what I mean? Like, no, you know what I mean? Different moments. One is definitely way more like intense and anxious and tension building, but this other one is not as much, not nearly as much. But it's important for Emma as a character and her development. And that's what I always like to see. Consistent development. I don't want to see 500 chapters go by, character ain't getting no development. And I'm not even talking about One Piece. Like, I'm not talking about One Piece. I think sometimes, like, you know, sometimes people will think I'm talking about One Piece, but I'm just talking about manga in general, and especially long-running manga. Long-running manga will do that too often. It's always this, like, the stakes have to be incredibly high for a character to develop or realize something or whatever. And I'm like, bruh, like, not every character is like Yusuke Urameshi. And not, okay? Emma's not Yusuke, okay? And in some ways, I'm really happy about that because Emma is, in some ways, like she shouldn't be well-adjusted, but she kind of is in some ways. You know what I mean? Like, she's able to grow and think and reflect in ways that we can as people and in this reality. And I really like that. All right. So again, this is what I want to see. You know what I mean? You know? Like, Emma's not the same person that she was from, like, the first arc. That's, like, no, she's not, right? Dragonite, she's not. Clearly not. And the key, right? Like Yugo's legacy is living on. The kids are surprising Emma, right? Like, this is what I'm talking about. People affect other people. People leave an impact. Adults leave an impact on children. This is something that people, I think, like, often kind of like forget. Like, people don't realize. I think a lot of adults don't realize how much we impact children that we're around, that we foster, that we teach, that we mentor, whatever, that we take care of, you know, whatever. Like, we really impact them. I was teaching a class one Saturday, and I asked the kids that I was like, you know, how many of you feel like, you know, and this is like middle school students, and I was like, how many of you feel like, you know, family is, family is like pretty important in terms of like who you are as a person and how you sort of perceive yourself and your identity and stuff like that. And a bunch of them like raise their hands. Why? Because like that's how that works, you know? So I think, like, again, it's important that, you know, you understand people, like, especially older people affect younger people. That's just how it is. Okay. Especially if the age gap is like very sort of like wide, right? Like, you just kind of respect, like, people generally, like, I think people like respect like their elders for the most part, and they sort of see their elders as people who have had more experience and stuff like that, you know? So again, Hugo and Lucas have just, woo, they left an impression on them kids. All right. They left an impression on them kids. All right. Not just a little kids, but the kind of little kids, right? Like Emma and Ray and Don and Gilda and those folks. All right. So again, this is a chapter that I think, again, it's one of those chapters that I like. The pacing is very good for The Promised Neverland. We move fairly quickly, okay? right? We move fairly quickly, all right? And we get that development that I really like. It sort of reminds me of like Haikyuu's kind of like that. Haikyuu's kind of like that, where it feels like we're not moving quickly, right? Because of it feels like we might not be moving quickly because of the pacing of like the matches and stuff like that. But actually, you know, generally, like I think it's fine. Like the pacing, it's not even the pacing so much as it's like the development. Whenever you get a match in Haikyuu, the development's like off the charts, right? Similar stuff for the Promised Neverland. When you get into an arc for the Promised Neverland, you get the development going in. Okay, so really, really, really like what's going on here. Emma has grown. All right, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Emma and Hinata, I think, are very sort of similar, but they're very different, right? Because like Emma's clearly like talented in a certain way, but in intellect and like athleticism, right? So she's got a lot like going for her. But I think, you know, obviously the sort of similarity, right, in like Weekly Shonen Jump protagonists, and in particular like Hinata and Emma, is like they understand that they have kind of like weaknesses, or they have personality sort of like, you know, traits that kind of get them into trouble sometimes, and they work really hard to mitigate any sort of negative the negative consequences of those personality traits, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I like about it, right? Hinata, like you read Haikyuu, Hinata from the beginning, he definitely not Hinata like from like up to like around now, right? Like totally different. The development for him is phenomenal. The development for Emma is also top-notch stuff. All right. So let me get out of here because it is 10:06. All right. I'm gonna try to see if I can react to that Tower of God greatness. Okay. I also want to make sure I get to bed like it's at a decent sort of hour, because I'm trying to just get to bed earlier, because like I've been getting to bed way later than I need to, and it's not good. So I'm just trying to get to bed earlier, like get into like, you know, good rhythm, and, you know, make sure I get like this content out for y'all. All right. So I got to think about, you know, what I'm going to react to in terms of like Weekly Shonen Jump stuff now, because I'm not reacting to One Piece. I'm not going to do that until I feel like I want to do that again. I think I'm probably not going to do that for like a while, probably for like a solid year. And then I'm going to come back to One Piece when like that year is like, is over. You know what I mean? I couldn't do 4 a.m., man. I really want to go into Tower of God. I'm looking forward to that, because last chapter was great. This chapter should be very, very good. So look out for that. I'm gonna get some water. You know what I mean? Probably, you know, eat like some fruit real quick, just because, you know what I mean? Stay, you know, healthy fruit sugar. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna get into that Tower of God reaction. All right. So thank y'all for coming through, man. This is my live reaction / initial thoughts to The Promised Neverland, chapter 114. Okay. I'm gonna get back to reacting to some Weekly Shonen Jump titles. I'm gonna probably swap Hunter x Hunter with like something else. Probably My Hero. I'm gonna do a My Hero read through sometime soon, and then My Hero is gonna be back on like the list. So it'll be The Promised Neverland, My Hero, and most likely like a readathon. I'm gonna add a readathon to Mondays as well. I'm gonna try to, you know, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure out the schedule and try to fit it in and do all that work. All right. So thank y'all for coming through, man. Y'all are dope. Shouts out to Dragonite and Key and Reptar in the chat. Y'all are great. Always great to see y'all come through in the chat and show me love and all of that. It's great. All right. I'm the Black Manga Critic, y'all, and I'm out, y'all.